Hello and welcome to this webinar, Heart Wisdom Alchemy. I am Amanda Korger and I have with me my beautiful business partner, Angela Shakti Sparks, and together we are your intuitive healers and inspirational guides at Heart Magic Healing. And we are honored and thrilled to be here with you today. We are so excited to share with you this wisdom because we are in this amazing time that can feel challenging at moments, but we have this beautiful opportunity to really begin to shift from all of that mental thinking and connecting with the wisdom right here in your heart. And it's not to say that that mind's going to disappear, but when we can link them and really bring them together, we become that much more powerful. And we are so excited to share with you some tips. We are going to dive through what you will learn and everything like that. And before we get started, we're going to ask you to take a moment to breathe into your heart with us so that you are ready and open to receive whatever is best for you with this webinar. So for this first one, I'm going to ask you just to place your hand on your heart. Make that gentle awareness there. And with your intention, begin to breathe in and out of your heart. And I know I personally like to close my eyes when I do this. You are welcome to do the same, really helping me bring my awareness to my heart. So a gentle breath in, the gentle breath out. One more time, gentle breath in, and a gentle breath out. And we will take you a little bit deeper each time that we do this, so you can really begin to connect with your heart. And now we are ready to share with you what this event is all about.
All right, so let the slides come up here. And all right, so what we are going to cover in this webinar. So we are going to be talking about the importance of shadow work and alchemizing energy. We will be discussing emotions as becoming a guidance system rather than being that emotional roller coaster or feeling like your emotions are in control of you. We are going to dive deep into reconnecting to and trusting that inner wisdom. And then at the end, we're going to share a practice that you can work with right now in your life. So be sure, and we have a bonus, so be sure to stay tuned till the end. And so welcome. Amanda's going to share who this webinar is for.
All right. Well, you could be coming to us from many different places on your journey. Some of the common things that we see is that you might be experiencing anxiety, or perhaps you call it worry, or maybe you know it as stress. And one of the things that we have found is that so much of the energy that causes that anxiety and stress is really being caught. The energy gets caught up in our heads. And so perhaps that is one of the things that you have noticed and experienced in your life. And another way you might identify it is really having that overactive mind. If you've ever had challenges falling asleep at night because those thoughts are just racing, I have been there before, and this is also going to assist you with that, or that mental chatter. Maybe you get caught in the middle of the day with that mind chatter just going, and You don't even realize that how much time has passed. It's okay. We're here to assist you. But that mental chatter is definitely something that we will bring some more awareness to throughout this webinar. And another thing that you might notice that's really coming up for you is questioning or doubting your decisions. Like you might start to decide one thing and be like, oh no, I really don't think that's it. My husband, our kids, we have two kids, and they will say one thing and then they'll say actually, and it kind of sounds like the name Ashley. And so he's like, oh, did you have an Ashley moment? Perhaps you can find yourself in that as well. We do all change our minds at times, and yet we can really create more confidence in our decisions when we have connected with our heart before we make that decision. So, those might be a few of the things that you have been noticing in your life as to why this might be so powerful for you.
Yes, and I also hear people mention to me as well, it's like, how do I know that it's my inner voice versus that the mind talking? So, it's like learning to discern. And when we drop down into the heart, that's when we get those clearer answers. So,
Beautiful. So I think, Angela, did you have the next thing to share with our listeners about heart magic healing?
all right. So, heart magic healing. So, we'd like to just briefly share what some of our values are. So, we obviously, do a lot of work with connecting with that wisdom of your heart. So, really learning to tune in to the wisdom of the heart and let it guide you. And also, our emotions are meant to be a guidance system. And so, doing the emotional healing work and learning to let your emotions bring you messages and be a guidance system for your life. And then energetic alchemy. And I love this. I love this. Everything is energy, right? Your physical body, your thoughts, your emotions, it's all energy. And so, whatever you wish to create in your life, whatever desires that you want to manifest, it requires energetically aligning to those desires. And so working with that energetic alchemy so that we can all begin to tune into that wisdom of our heart and really vibrate with what it is that we wish to bring into our lives.
Wonderful. And so what does it look like when you have these as some of your values? And one example that I personally have experienced for sure, my kids are 6 and 9, and I know that in my early motherhood years, if my oldest would get upset, it activated me and it just made so much more resistance and perhaps if she was upset, I would start yelling, type of thing, rather than being there for her. And so, one of the examples that I personally have experienced by embracing this is I am now much more able to be present and hold space for my children as they learn to navigate their emotions rather than being triggered by my child's emotions. And that has been really powerful and life changing for me. I know my youngest, when I'm able to do this for him, it really helps him move through his emotions quickly. Like he will get upset, and if I am in that space for him, I can say to him like, "Oh, this feels really tough for you." And oftentimes, I realize that he wants to be acknowledged, and that's really what our emotions want. Our parents most likely did not know how to feel their emotions, so they couldn't teach us. And so, really, it's been kind of about reparenting myself. And so, just like my son would love to have his emotions validated and that helps him move through it, I have learned to really honor my emotions like, yeah, this does really feel tough. and I can still figure out how to do this.
Yes, and I think I love that we have on the slide that holding space for your child, but really, I think that applies to, like you were saying, your partner, other family members, even, and yourself. So,
Absolutely.
all right. And so another example of one of what we value here is learning to being able to speak up for your needs without feeling guilty about it. So saying yes when you mean yes, saying no when you mean no. Anybody people pleasing, any people pleasers out there? I spent most of my life people pleasing and, trying to validate myself outside of myself, and would often compromise my own wants and needs to for other people, just to try to make them happy, or for, I'm trying to be validated by them, approval outside of self approval, all these things. So learning to speak up and have strong energetic boundaries for ourselves.
Yeah, and part of the reason that this is so important is that when you're able to say yes when you mean yes or no when you mean no, um, that really is where your strength and power is. And when we don't, when you say yes when you actually mean no, it often tends to lead to resentment. So if you catch yourself in one of those places in which you're like replaying that story of like, oh, why did I sign up for this? Why did I agree to do this? Or I really wish they could have just done this themselves. That energy is staying with you. And there are actually studies that are beginning to link that resentment to breast cancer in women. So, just one of the ways that this is so powerful to move through those emotions.
Yeah, always taking care of others and never taking care of yourself with some of that same energy, or putting others first always instead of filling your own energetic cup first. All right. And then also being able to identify when your energy is ungrounded and learning how to intentionally ground and center your energy in order to receive divine guidance. So this is such an important practice. I talk about this in everywhere. Everywhere in my classes, in our sessions, but it's grounding is so important. It's such an important practice. One, the earth energy is important for our bodies, so it's important to connect to that energy. They actually have to introduce the Schumann resonance of the earth to astronauts out in space. Otherwise, their physical bodies will get physically ill. And so grounding is important, but it also helps us. If you've ever seen spiritual people, sometimes, or non-spiritual, who are super spacey and all over the place, so you can be spiritual but when it's ungrounded, it's this scattered, unfocused energy. And so the grounding is what helps you come to center and then be clear, have more clarity in the information that you are receiving. And you can actually go higher spiritually when the more grounded and centered that you are.
Yeah, and really, when you're grounded and centered, you're here in the present moment. So it makes it that much easier for you to receive everything that's here for you because everything that you need is here in the present moment for you. So if you can be here in the present moment, you'll feel those nudges on which decision is best for you to make. And you'll realize, oh, hey, this is an option. This is here for me right now. You'll begin to notice more of that. And I feel like it also leads perfectly into our next example of being confident in your decisions because you have intentionally connected to the wisdom of your heart to guide your decisions. When we forget to be centered and grounded, or when we get thrown off balance because life happens, and even though Angela and I practice this consistently, I will be completely honest, and there are still moments that I find myself thrown off balance and I'm not centered and grounded. And I have to remind myself and come back to this. And it's when I'm centered and grounded that I can have clarity in that decision, or I'm otherwise most likely being guided by my ego mind rather than the wisdom of my heart. Anything you'd like to add here, Angela?
Yeah, I think being ungrounded, and also just what's coming to mind is just the, the different planetary alignments also can take us off center. And so not beating ourselves up when because, you don't maintain these energies all the time. You have to, these are ongoing practices, right? Like brushing your teeth and just the daily hygiene that you do. There's energetic hygiene, and grounding is part of that energetic hygiene because life is ever changing and there's ever fluctuating. So it's an ongoing practice to incorporate.
Absolutely. Ongoing practice and journey together. I don't know if this journey ever really has an ending point. I think we're always continuing to grow and evolve.
Yep, absolutely. The only constant is change, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so let's just take a moment to reconnect. So, we've been doing a little bit of talking here. So, and this is, we're doing this throughout this webinar, but this is also an invitation for you to do this similarly in your life because it can be this simple. I mean, maybe you noticed earlier how just by closing your eyes and dropping into the heart, you came into that present moment and were more able to receive and hear the messages. So let's just come back to that again. So you can do this throughout your day. Just pause. Bring your hands to your heart, close your eyes, take that breath, and make sure that breath is moving down into your body also. So full body breath, the belly expands, but focusing on taking that breath into the heart and maybe even letting out a sigh. And take a few more breaths here, breathing into the heart with your intention, feeling your body expand, letting it go easily, and taking one more breath in and out through your heart. Good. All right. And just notice how you feel after just a few breaths with that heart awareness.
And now that we're in this space connected to our heart, it's a little bit easier for us to talk about the current challenge. And the current challenge is that most of us at some point have created a heart wall. You can think about it in any way. It shows up in so many different ways and forms when you try to connect with it, potentially visually. But knowing that that heart becomes a little bit closed. And the first thing is we really want to acknowledge that it was created for a reason. Many times it's created somewhere in childhood for protection. Perhaps a loved one, you were seeking love from them, and something you did, they were upset about it. And it was something that you felt really good about. Like maybe you were creating, and then your mom was upset that your toys were all over, and they didn't even care about what you created. And your heart gets a little bit sad, and it can build up over many experiences. But the heart wall is really formed as a way of protection to keep you safe from something that didn't feel safe in that moment. And as that protection builds, it really limits your ability to connect with the wisdom of your heart. Part of what we do is we intentionally start to take that heart wall down to begin to feel safe. The important piece to remember is that if it ever gets to feel too unsafe, you can put that heart wall back and try and remove it at a later time. But as we start to remove that wall, we get closer to the wisdom of our heart, and it begins to open more fully and connect us with our desires in life.
Yes, beautiful. Yeah, and the heart wall also, so it limits us in a lot of ways, but one of the other ways that it limits is our ability to use our emotions as our guidance system. And we are emotional beings, and emotions, energy and motion, they are meant to move through. And a lot of times, since we don't know how to process them, they get trapped in our body. But this heart wall also kind of blocks that awareness of using the emotions as a guidance system, and really it dulls our emotions down. That's part of what that protection is. So this limits deeper connections in our relationships, and it limits our ability to feel emotions. And this means the positive and the negative emotions, right? The heavier versus uplifting emotions is how I like to describe it. But when we have this wall, it's really limiting our feeling sense of all those emotions. And you know, as feeling beings, when we open up, when we can release this heart wall and open up those feelings, yes, there's still going to be those, sadness and these other feelings, but they're able to move through quicker. And there's this deeper sense of compassion and understanding when we open that heart wall. And so then they don't become these really destructive and restrictive forces that they are when we don't know how to deal with them and when we have this heart wall. And Amanda had mentioned, when feeling safe, we in energy work, we do work a lot with releasing emotions and processing emotions. And in sessions, I've also worked with removing that heart wall. And sometimes I'll put up more of like a positive, almost like a little force field around it. So there's also ways, as we remove that heart wall, we can still have this, we can create a more positive, a more uplifting, quote, protection around it. But it's really by opening and expanding that energy out that is a better protective mechanism that still allows the good things in.
Absolutely. And I just kind of hear that question is of what do you mean by emotions as a guidance system? And so if this concept is newer to you, we'll take a moment to share an example here and know that we have lots of resources to help you dive deeper. And the example that comes to mind is around some of that like frustration and challenges. And so my family made the decision to start homeschooling our kids this year. And I was working with my daughter on her math platform, her math lessons. And I noticed that when I would go through the math with her, she was getting so challenged by it. She was in what we call her panic zone. She was frustrated, and by being in that panic zone, she was forgetting the most simple things. And I would say things in many ways, and it was like it was in one ear and out the other, and it never like clicked in the middle. And so I really came to the point of this isn't working anymore and we have to do something different. And it was noticing that frustration and challenge as a guidance point of it's time to make a change. So that is one example of using those emotions as a guidance system.
Yeah, that's a great example. Yeah, and anger. So here, when we talk about being a guidance system, anger is about personal boundaries often. There's also, if you are experiencing certain emotions, it can be showing you where you haven't been processing those emotions, or it's usually it's like in neurolinguistic programming, we say tension means pay attention. So I would say the same thing. Emotions come up. It's like they want your attention. They are showing you something, and so being more aware and tuning into what that is that they're trying to show you.
Yeah, definitely. I love how you brought up that the piece about how emotions may be showing us parts of us that need healing. Because as adults, that's a good part of it. Is many times those emotions are bringing up experiences from childhood that we didn't fully process, and so they continue to come back up until we can look at them. And then once we look at them, we start to notice them shift in our external reality.
Hmm. It can also, I love this one too, is showing you where you're out of alignment with, when we talked about energetic alignment, it can show you where you're out of alignment with what you want to create. So if you're wanting to create money, for example, but you're feeling the energy of lack and not enough, then you're not going to attract money when you're in that feeling state. So a little message for you there to, to shift that energy. So speaking of shifting energy, let's talk about shadow work. I love shadow work actually. So sometimes I think people have a bad connotation about shadow work, or it feels scary, right? They're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to deal with all those icky emotions I don't want to deal with, all those past traumas. And, you know, yes, you are dealing with them, but it's actually much easier than you would think. And what is on the other side of that work is freedom. And so, I suffered from depression most of my life, and I'm an empath. We are empaths, and I'm sure many of you that are attracted to this as well. And so I took on emotions of my parents and partners and friends and strangers, and just was weighed down by all this heaviness of the world. I had some sexual traumas and other things that have happened. And so, over the past little over a decade now, I've been peeling away those layers and doing this shadow work. And the more I do it, the more I'm like, anytime something comes up, I'm like, all right, yes, let's do this. Let's move through this. So, I actually love shadow work. And really think it's essential to fully enjoying and opening up to the truth of who you are and enjoying this amazing world that we live in. We chose to come here, I believe, and believe me, I used to wish I would die every day. Did not want to be here. Did not feel like I belonged on this planet. But knowing what I know now, I feel like we have all chosen to come here. So let's make this a joyful journey, a joyful experience. Yes.
Yeah, I totally agree with the part where you talked about how you love it now. I also, when I first really became aware of this journey and started doing the shadow work, it was tough. I was like, I don't want to be in this. And the farther along on the journey, the easier it's getting for me, and the more excited I am to tackle and like, all right, let's get rid of this. Like, I know this is showing me something. What is it? And it's kind of like, all right, let's go, as you said. So yeah, that's knowing that it gets easier. And I think another key piece here is that it's a journey. You don't have to tackle everything at once. And honestly, you're going to be guided to what's best for you in this moment. So it is very much like a layer, and you'll be guided to, okay, this layer needs to come off first. And now you can work on this layer. And then once you move through that, you'll be shown something else. And it's so amazing how the divine guidance works and how it's all put together. And by connecting with the wisdom of your heart and going through this heart wisdom alchemy, you're going to begin to open up to all of these. And it feels so much lighter and brighter on the other side.
Hmm.
Okay, so now that we've talked about that heart wall being there and some of this shadow work, how do you know if your heart is open or closed. And we're really going to give some different ways that you might be able to identify if your heart is closed still. One of the ways that I personally encountered was feeling cold. Now, I understand that temperatures change, and sometimes it is that outside temperature, even on warm days, or like somebody next to me would be feeling really warm, perhaps even taking like a jacket off or whatever the case might be, and I would be sitting there like cold and shivering. I actually had an example of this in a conversation. We were having a discussion, an important meeting, and my husband and I were both participating. It was for our kids' school at the time, and my husband was in the same room with me, and he felt warm and did take his jacket off, and I was sitting there shivering, cold, and I knew at that point, like, okay, this is very much a sign my heart has closed up. It does not feel safe in this space. And so sometimes when you do notice that, and it was like anything I did at that point wasn't stopping it. And that was very much an indication for me. It was a perfect example of how I used my emotions to guide me to my next steps. I had intentionally gone into that conversation being asked for guidance. And so for me to feel cold and shivering and have a way to like shift it in the moment was that guidance for me. The next one that we have for you is around judgment. Wherever we judge others, it's most likely mirroring to us where we are judging ourselves. So judgment is a big piece, and that one I think is one that has taken me. It feels like it took me a little longer to kind of really come around to that judgment. It feels like a tough one, but that judgment is often a form of that heart protection and what doesn't feel safe for our heart to really open up to and connect with our desires.
Yeah, I've heard you judge what you fear.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then we have a sense of feeling disconnected or like you don't belong, is often an area where maybe you aren't in the right spot and it's because your heart is closed up, so you haven't connected with the people you're really meant to connect with right now.
Hmm. Yeah. Judgment and, well, a lot of these have been a big part of my life till I realized I had the heart well. But um, confusion is another one. And so that I used to always do this. I don't know. And especially when I started doing the healing work, when we were doing different processes, trying to access subconscious mind and do different work, I was, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. I do know, we do know, our heart knows. So that's definitely a sign that heart has a wall around it that's not letting you through and access that inner wisdom that is there, because we do know. And then saying yes again when we mean no, that people pleasing, protection, also being reserved with your feelings in relationships. So if you feel like, it's like you love someone, but maybe you have a little bit of fear of really fully opening up to them, maybe you hold back on what you share with them, even because you're afraid of what they might say or think or do. And so holding not only your feelings close to your heart, or being reserved with your feelings, but also, just what you will share with your either your partner or in other relationships too, right? It could be even friendships and family.
Yeah, and keeping in mind that really these are all here as a form of protection. Your one of the things that your mind is here to do is to keep you safe. And so all of this is it does it to keep you safe. Okay, so now that we've talked about the heart wall being there and identified some ways to know if your heart is feeling closed, let's talk about what we can do to begin to connect with your heart wisdom. And Angela, I feel like there's a few really important pieces here. One is around cleansing your energy. When Angela talked about being an empath, and when you're picking up on all of the energy from other people, it makes it really challenging to connect. So, one of the first things we recommend doing is cleansing your energy. And we are going to stay with us because we're going to walk you through an example of this. There are many different ways that you can cleanse your energy. So, exploring and experimenting with what feels right to you. We'll share an example with you in our next slide. But the next piece is grounding and centering into the present moment. Again, we're going to walk you through all of this, but we have found that when you ground and center that into the present moment, that's really when you're going to begin to notice those little nudges of what feels best for you and really feeling into this is the way that is right for me. That's really where you're going to connect with that wisdom. But when you're caught up in your head, you're going to miss those little nudges, and your decisions are going to be based much more on that logic and past experiences. And the cool part is your heart has the ability to see kind of outside of those past experiences and logic. It opens up to more possibilities than what your mind believes is possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the next key piece is really setting that intention for the heart to lead the mind. I love to set that intention for my meditation or when I'm looking for guidance is connecting with the heart, and my mind is still here, and when I learn to use it more efficiently, it can be really powerful. It's great at problem solving, and it's really more of giving it that guidance. And so I love to set the intention, asking my heart to guide my mind into whatever I am solving or looking for guidance on. And when we do that, then we can really open up to those emotions being the guidance. And my mind might remind me of an experience. And as it reminds me of that experience, it's triggering the emotional response, that the emotions tied to that experience. If I haven't processed them, it'll trigger that emotional response in my body, and I can use those emotions as a guidance for this is what I need to know. And I'm also really having that embodied awareness with that too. I'm picking up on, Angela mentioned tension means pay attention. I'm picking up on where do I have tension in my body. I'm picking up on all of the things around me, really using my senses to help guide me and really having that awareness. Angela, anything you would love to add to this slide?
I just thought you mentioned the possibility, and yes, so that's the other thing that, we're talking about emotions as guides and learning the heart wisdom, but some of the other effects, results of that are you see more possibilities, you experience more opportunities, you experience more joy, you experience more flow and ease in your life. So when we do this work, we are hugely rewarded, greatly rewarded.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm going to grab a quick drink of water. We are going to do a practice now, so I invite you to do the same. And water, energy is X to move. Water helps move energy. So, or you're think about your body as our energy. So, we want that water can help the energy flow. All right, so we're going to do a practice here. So you just will get comfortable and breathe and follow along. This is just one example of ways to do that grounding and clearing of the energy. I have several practices I work with that I share in our community and other places, but this is one. And so we're going to ground, we're going to clear the energy. And we're going to breathe back into the heart, and then we're going to guide you in feeling what a yes and no feels like so we can start to tap into that heart wisdom energy. So go ahead and close your eyes here. And if you want, you can bring the hands to the heart, or you could just have them relaxing easily. If you are seated, maybe bring your feet to the ground, to the floor, feel your feet connecting. And sitting up nice and tall, allowing that breath to move into the body. So coming back to that diaphragmatic belly breathing, take a breath in, let out a sigh. And then continue breathing in this way, allowing the breath to move into the body and expand the body. And begin imagining a golden ball of light right at the center. So at your core star, just above your navel. And with each inhale that you take, this ball of golden, sparkling energy and light begins to expand. So imagining expanding to the size of a baseball. And so each inhale, gently expanding this ball of energy. As you exhale, you can simply set the awareness to feel it burning brightly within your core star. And then inhaling, expanding it now out to the edges of your body. Just feeling, sensing, imagining this growing ball of energy and light. And then with your next inhale, start to expand it just outside of your body, starting to expand into your energy field, all directions, the sides, the front, the back of your body. And feel it growing in size and brightness, this golden sparkling ball of energy. And then in a moment, with an exhale, we are going to blow this energy out in all directions. And as we blow it out, you're going to think of it clearing, like blowing out anything that's in your body, anything that's in your energy field, any stuck energies that are ready to release, any energies that aren't yours. Perhaps your auric field has gotten a little constricted, and so we're just going to blow this energy out, blow anything out of our field, and start to expand our energy field, taking one more breath into this ball of energy, and then blow it out all directions, and just feel, sense, see that energy being blown out of your field, blown out of your body. And then bring your awareness now to your heart center and just feel for a moment, feel that expansion as if you are now surrounded by this golden light, this large sphere that's around you, and it keeps out any lower vibrational energies, and only positive, loving energy now can flow in. And start to breathe into your heart now. And then just start to come into what we call that embodied awareness. So just feeling in your body, feeling yourself within this ball of energy. And then as you breathe, begin to say within your mind the word yes. Just keep repeating that yes, yes, that feel good yes, that uplifting yes, 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 yes. And then as you repeat this word of yes, noticing how it feels in your body. Perhaps it feels expansive or lighter. Maybe the energy moves up higher into your body. Maybe it feels bubbly. Maybe it feels peaceful and content. Just noticing how that yes energy feels for you. And then now we're going to feel the no energy. So beginning to say within yourself, no, 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 no. And notice how this no energy feels in your body. Perhaps it feels dense or constrictive or heavy. Just noticing how that no energy feels for you. And then let's come out of that no energy. Let's do just a maybe energy. So now just repeat to yourself, maybe, maybe, perhaps. And then noticing how that maybe feels. Maybe it feels like a little bit of uncertainty. You're not sure if it feels light or heavy. It's somewhere in the middle. It's somewhat ambiguous, perhaps. Just notice. And then let's breathe back into the heart and maybe have some of that yes energy come back in. So maybe bring a gentle smile to your lips. Take a nice inhale through the heart, breathing in love and gratitude, breathing in uplifting energies and connection and light, breathing it into the heart. And just exhale some of that love and gratitude out to the cells of your body, breathing in that love and gratitude and appreciation into your heart. Breathe it out into your body, into your energy field. So now we are closing out this breath with that sense of feeling centered and grounded and connected to our hearts, connected to each other, uplifted. And then as you are ready, slowly opening your eyes, coming back to this present moment. And welcome back, everyone.
Yes, how are you just noticing how you feel now that we have taken that moment to really come in to this heart space? And as you are in this heart space, we're going to invite you to stay in this heart space with us as you listen to some options to continue to elevate and expand with us. And knowing that Angela and I are here if it feels right for you. And if it doesn't, we fully respect that there is something else out there that may be better for you. But we love for you to connect with your heart and practice that feeling that yes or no for each of these options. And there may be more than one that feels right to you, and there may be more than one that feels like a no to you. Just listening as we share now.
Yep. So you get to put that awareness into practice. All right. So we would love to invite you to elevate and expand with us. Expand with us at Heart Magic Healing, because we are all on this journey together, and it's so much more of a beautiful journey when we do it together. So we have a circle community, and you are actually by attending this webinar, you are already now a part of our free part of the community on Circle. And so we invite you, just even being part of this community, to begin to be more active and present with the community here. You will definitely get more out of it when you are interactive with the group. Feel free to share when we post different reflections or practices, and post your experiences, share your experiences, and then we can all begin to give each other that feedback and really feel more connected within the community. And then we do have, beyond the free part of our community, we have a membership. And so within the membership, and we'll share more how you can join this membership. We have a really amazing price for it. I belong to another community, and so we offer a lot of wonderful practices. We have, one of our main offerings is our individual vibrational activations. And so each month we have a theme, we do a discussion, we do a very potent, powerful energy activation, and then we give practices that you can work with. And so we have these each month. And then we have our soul frequency spa, which some people may have attended. We offer these free each month to attend live, and then they go into our community, our membership library. And so you can go back and listen to those. And then we also have a special bonus for you today, which we'll share here in just a moment, that will be an extra offering as part of our membership. Amanda, anything to add on those?
Yeah, I love that our membership helps you identify those different patterns in the vibrational activation. And another key piece of the membership is that you can go back and listen to these whenever it feels right for you. So if you have that really full schedule, this is a great way to do that shadow work or energetic alignment and energetic alchemy whenever it fits your schedule. Some people, prefer to do it as they start their day. Maybe you prefer to do it at the end of the day, or maybe you've got 30 minutes in the middle of your day, and that's when it feels right to you. And that is another key piece of those, the membership there, knowing that you can go back and listen whenever. And each activation, every time that you listen, it's helping you work on another one of those layers that's ready to come off. So it's going to meet you exactly where you're at every time you listen to it.
Yes, and we listen to them too. I listen to them. In fact, I just listened to one this morning before we recorded this webinar. So I go back and work with them all the time, depending on what you've got coming up. We've got ones like Opening to Receive, Igniting Your Intuition, Belief Revolution is one that we recently recorded. That's been a great one to work with when you're trying to bust through some of those limiting beliefs or really open yourself to more empowering beliefs. So really potent work here for many areas of your life. We have a joy and pleasure one, reawakening, of course, abundance. We can't have a library without something around abundance. So lots of different topics and energetic shifts that you can experience through these activations with those practices.
And one more that really keeps coming to mind is the relationship mirrors. So one of our examples was around being able to hold space. I showed the example of being able to hold space for a child, but whether it's holding space for a partner or whatever the case is. And those relationships are often here mirroring something to us. So if it's activating those strong emotions in us, it's calling us to do some healing or go within and find out what's there for us. And our relationship mirrors will help you figure out what that is showing you too. So the next way that you can elevate and expand with us is through our emotional freedom course. So if you were one with the question earlier of what do you mean by using emotions as a guidance system, this is the course for you because it does a deep dive on using your emotions as a guidance system. It talks to you about all the different ways that we engage with our emotions. It helps you understand how your mind works better, and it does the sound activation portion of it does a deep dive of connecting you with your inner child. So you can figure out which parts of your inner child have been running on autopilot and heal that parts of yourself, coming back to that wholeness, love, and joy. And it also gives you simple techniques to use throughout your day to assist you in those moments where maybe you don't have time to do the deep dive. What are some simple things you can do to help that emotion through in the moment? And the final way we'd love to share with you is Angela and I do offer individual sessions. We do it together, and the cool thing is when we bring our energy together, it's like an expanded consciousness pool. And so we have found that when we bring our energies together, we move through things so much faster and quicker. And it is for those like deepest, most stuck parts. Like if you have tried multiple things and it feels like you're still not quite getting through it, that's when you want to book an individual session with us. And by bringing our energy together with yours, the three of us will really expand and break through whatever is coming up for you.
Yeah, those are potent, powerful sessions. Lots of, I call it working energy, but then of course we always leave you feeling harmonized and balanced at the end.
And of course, we mentioned a bonus. And so, thank you so much for staying with us to receive this bonus. Of course, remembering to take that time to feel into if any of those options were right for you. And if you got a yes to joining the Heart Magic membership, we would love to offer you a bonus for that. We always offer a 7-day free trial to check out our membership, look at what some of the different themes are, see what that soul frequency spot is about, and listen to a couple and see, is this the type of thing that feels right to me? By being a part of this webinar, you are also going to receive a discount. You will save $11 per month for the first 3 months when you use the code HeartMagic11. That's all
And you want to
one
share
inclusive.
the monthly membership price, and so then they know what they're getting that.
Yes, we have actually felt called to share at two different price ranges, two different price points, I should say, to assist you and meeting you wherever you are at. So, again, we ask you to check in with your heart and see what feels right for you. Our higher tier is 44 and our lower tier is 33. Now, really, this tier is about financially where you are, and we hold that mindset and belief that as we all come together and give where we are able to, knowing that we are further growing and elevating and expanding together. So, really, it's about where are you at financially and how can you contribute. So, if you save $11 for the first 3 months, it brings that 44 down to 33. And if you start at the 33, it'll bring it down to 22 for the first 3 months and then return to that other rate.
Yeah. Perfect. And so then our bonus that you get for thank you for watching this webinar is when you join the membership, we are offering a free personalized recommendation as a bonus. So in other words, we'll have you share what your intentions are, what you're wanting to focus on and work through, and we will curate the vibrational activations or soul frequency spas that it will be most beneficial for you to work with. So we will tune in and channel what is best for you and then provide that recommendations. Then you can just go through and listen to those. You don't have to open it and think, where do I start? Which one do I start with? We will help you create an outline, create a plan so that you can work through those different activations and really make those shifts and changes in your life.
Yeah, so we'll include the link to that personal recommendation form below. And just keeping in mind that we are only providing those if you join the membership, but we want to make sure you have access to it now. We've kept it as brief as possible. It's really just helping us identify, giving us a little bit of information to base that on of what intentions you have. But we want to make sure that you get the most value that you can from this membership. We know that they're powerful, and we'd love to help you focus on your areas and guide you so that you can begin to see that transformation sooner than later.
Mm-hmm.
So now the question is your heart ready to transform? Are you ready to begin to experience some of those examples that we shared with you, like holding space for your child, or really saying yes only when you mean yes, and not having that voice conflict of, oh, I'm speaking yes out loud and inside it's a no. So making sure you align those. Are you ready to experience that? Are you ready to experience speaking up for your needs without feeling guilty?
Are you
How
ready
about
to
you?
experience more joy and freedom?
Yes,
And
yes.
the energetic alignment with what you want? Are you ready to start
Mm.
manifesting and bringing into your life the things that you want? When we clear out these layers, when we do this work and peel away those untruths and come back to the truth of who we are, that's when
Yeah.
life really starts to become more joyful.
Making sure part of that energetic alignment and alchemy is making sure your beliefs are aligned with your desires. So many of our beliefs are still from when we're 0 to 7, absorbing everything like a sponge. And
And
so,
unconscious.
yes.
Let's break through. So break through all of that unconscious, break through the unconscious beliefs and unconscious patterns and break through those layers and let's all elevate and expand together.
So, we are so grateful that you joined us for this webinar. And we trust that you are going to follow that heart wisdom that you received on which, if any, of the elevate and expand options are right for you. We would love to hear from you. Send us a message of if this resonated. What did you experience? We'd love to hear from you.
Thanks for joining us. Much love.